Council and the Hampsthwaite Action Group. My name is David Collette. I'm Chairman of Hampsthwaite Parish Council, and on my right is Helen Brown, who's Vice Chair, and on her right is Terry Mancy, who's Chair of the Hampsthwaite Action Group. The Action Group was formed at our last public meeting some months ago when I said, given the housing challenges we faced in the village, the parish council on their own were not able to cope with all that was going to be required. And so an action group was formed. And haven't they risen to the challenge? Yes. Come on, let's have a round of applause. I don't know what you think, but I feel they've done a fantastic job. And we see some of the results of that here tonight in getting all you people along, so that's great. However, it is still down to a relatively few people who are really involved in this project, so we do need some more help, folks, and at the end of the meeting, if you feel you can help in any way, distributing newsletters, leaflets, whatever, do come and please speak to Terry at the end of the meeting. Some more thanks to the Brownies and the guides who've forgiven their evening to allow us to be here tonight, so we do appreciate that. Also, I would like to welcome and give thanks to Rebecca Burnett, Cabinet Member for Planning. Oh, she's over there. Thank you for coming along, Rebecca, to this meeting. And also to Michael Harrison, who I'm sure you all know is our local borough councillor. Rebecca will be addressing us a bit later on, but could I please ask that we have some order to this evening's proceedings? So if you've got a question and you want to make a remark, can you keep it to the time allotted for that and not interject as we go through the evening with speakers? I came to this village 27 years ago. Many of you, I guess, have not been in the village for that long, but quite a number, I guess, have been for longer than that. And as I stand here tonight, I feel we have the greatest threat to the village of Hampsthwaite. And why is that? Well, it's because landowners and developers are taking the opportunity, because we don't have a local development plan, to make hay. And so we're having applications coming in all over the place for housing in the village. That's one threat. And forgive me for saying this, Rebecca, but the other threat I feel we have is that our council are not really listening and taking on board the views of the community. We hear a lot about consultation. Rebecca, please consult in a realistic way. I think you will see from the turnout tonight there's a very strong feeling about the threats to our village. Now, I know not everybody who lives in the village is opposed to some of these planning applications, and we respect that. But from all the public meetings that we've held over quite a long period now, it's pretty clear to the parish council that the vast majority of people who live in Hampsthwaite do not want large-scale housing development. Is that right? Yes. So you might think we face insurmountable odds. We're having to face up to landowners, developers. We have got a council who perhaps are not really taking on board our views. And so we face strong opposition. Let's be quite realistic about that.
And Helen Brown, the Vice Chair of the Parish Council, is going to take you through it side by side. After that, we can talk about them and where we're going next. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I hope you can hear me. Not very good with the microphone, but I've got one pinch in my chest, so I just hope it's going to be okay. I'm just going to talk you through where we are on all the sites that we discussed at our last meeting. First of all, I thought I'd show you this slide, which is this is about how it's all happened, really. The local plan that Harrogate Borough Council are putting together, which is in draft form at the moment, has a development limit around some of the villages and the settlements. And I think, you know, it has been drawn around Hampsthwaite. I'm afraid this picture isn't very clear, but I hope that you can actually see the red line that goes around the limit, around the village. And you'll see that a couple of the sites that we discussed last time, and I'm going to update you on today, are included in that. Hampsthwaite has been designated as a primary service village because we have a key public transport route. And we have the capacity of infrastructure and services within the settlement that allow for additional housing. So the development line has been built round, and the policy states that in defining the development limits, consideration has been given to including land which would provide infill and rounding off opportunities that are physically, functionally and visually related to the existing built-up area or the opportunity for improvements to the entrance to the settlement. Within the development limits, proposals for new development will be supported, providing it accords with other policies in the local plan. So I take that to mean that if you're within the red line, if you apply for planning permission, it looks as though you'll get it. It then goes on to say that proposals for new development on sites outside the development limit of a settlement will be supported where it is consistent with the role of the settlement in the growth hierarchy set out in Harrogate Council's policy GS2. And it does not result in disproportionate level of development compared to the existing settlement. Then it has to meet certain criteria, one of which is that it would not have an adverse impact on the character and appearance of the surrounding countryside. So I'd just like you to bear those comments in mind as we go through this evening. So the first site we're just going to talk about is identified as HM1, which we probably all know now as Grange Park on Brookfield. As we saw on the previous slide, this site has been included within the development limit. And this site, in conjunction with HM4 and 5, the fields around it, were turned down twice at appeal over the past 30 years. At that time, Harrogate Borough Council were completely against any development on that site at all. When it came forward for planning this time, the arguments against the development remained the same, but Harrogate Borough Council actually wanted development and supported the application, and it was successful for the HM1 part of these fields. And I'm just bringing that up tonight because we'll go on to talk about HM4 and 5 in a little while. So I thought we'd have some pictures of what the site looks like. And this site is in the Harrogate draft local plan as a preferred site. And again, as we saw on the first slide, it has been included in the development limit. We could say, therefore, that both these sites would meet the target that consideration has been given to including land for infill and rounding up of opportunities. So an outline application for the erection of up to 46 dwellings was made by Johnson Mowat on behalf of Stonebridge Homes in April of this year. On the little site shown here in blue, and planning permission was granted. The houses around that application were originally a rural exception site for local houses for local people. There's 10 houses on there, but now it's gone to the open market. In addition, outline planning permission on the site shown here in orange has been granted for five-bedroom, two-storey dwellings. And that's on the land at Cruitt House. As yet, nothing has been built, but the application has been approved. So far, with the Grange, 56 houses, Cruitt Farm 4, Cruitt House 5, and the potential 46 on Brookfield Garth, Hampsthwaite will be absorbing 111 new houses. 2 of these sites within the development limit and 2 outside it. Prior to this recent spate of planning applications, the village had a population of 1,083 according to the 2011 census, with approximately 441 dwellings. Therefore, with what is already under construction, has planning permission granted or pending, the size of this village is being increased by 25%. We urge Harrogate Borough Council to take note of the cumulative numbers and the impact this has. The danger in assessing sites individually is that the cumulative impact on the settlement is overlooked. It's still hanging. Is overlooked. As we discussed earlier. This was originally considered for inclusion in the draft local plan, but has not been taken forward. It is also outside the development limit on the map. It's very steep rising ground out of the village. And just a few pictures to show what the topography is like. This site, again, is outside the draft development limit identified by Harrogate Borough Council. And regardless of that, Harrogate Borough Council have put this site forward as a preferred additional site, and it has therefore been the subject of a consultation for inclusion in the local plan. And the potential number of houses on this site, I think Harrogate identified as 101. Again, it would be increasing the size of the village by a further 25%.